Uh,
We're live.
yes, we're live. Hello and namaste. Good day, everyone. Welcome to yet another live session of our Empowered Wellness series. And this is the last one of the year. So let's rock it. Now, all right. Thanks to all of you for being here once again. And a huge shout out and thanks to all of our panelists and my lovely co hosts. Now, as we know, December's theme has been family, and today's topic is nurturing family health and making lifestyle choices for long term well being. Now, before we dive into the topic and move forward with our discussions, I would like to get into the introduction. So, let's start with it, and I would like to start with Sylvia. Sylvia, all yours.
Thank you, Rupsha, for the wonderful intro part. My name is Sylvia Vitos. I'm helping corporate leaders find balance inside out so that they can too live a happier and healthier life. I do that in a holistic approach, talking about mindset, physical well being, emotional intelligence, and the importance of connections to self, to others, and to a higher energy. So I'm a founder of Livity, and it's again all about well-being in the corporate environment. It's a pleasure to be here. I really appreciate all of you and all of your support throughout the year, and it's amazing to have this last yet very important session today. Looking forward to that. Rupsha, back to you.
Thanks, Sylvia. That was lovely. Now, let's go to Georgette. Your turn.
Hello, everybody. I am Georgette, and I am a health and wellness coach. I'm a progress catalyst, and what that means is that I guide people who are ready to level up in their lives into the next phase of who they want to be or where they need to be in life. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a nurse, and I'm so excited to be here today to talk about family around Christmas time. Back to you, Rupsha.
Lovely, Georgette. Thanks to you. Now, Anderson, mic is yours.
Thank you so much, Rupsha. Thank you all for this amazing introductions. It's so wonderful. I can't believe, Rupsha, when we were catching up before this session, we were talking about how this is session number 10. That's very humbling to me that we've had 10 of these sessions. So thank you very much, for all of your energy, for all of your knowledge, for everything that you've been able to bring to empower our communities to live healthier, to adopt healthier habits. My name is Anderson. I'm the founder of Live Unity, and the promise of Live Unity is to help everybody, especially workers, adopt healthy habits. I used to be one of those workers, and there was a time when I was just not just on unhealthy eating and unhealthy exercise, but just unhealthy emotional well-being. And so I've made it my mission now to help people prioritize their well-being, and this Empowered Wellness series is just an amazing way for us to come together and share all the wealth of knowledge that we've had, but also to learn from each other the different tips and tricks that we've found along the way that have helped us overcome what life presents to us as challenging. So it's exciting to be here to close out this session. I got my ugly sweater today. So I'm going to hand it back to you, Rupsha. Let's get the conversation going. Take it away.
That was wonderful. Thank you, Anderson. And for myself, I'm Rupsha Bhattacharya. I'm joining in from Calcutta, India. It's lovely, as always, to be a part of this Empowered Wellness series, a part of these coaches, and having you guys as a part of my community. Now, I'm a stress management coach and a yoga therapist. I've been a yogini for 20 plus years now, and for the past 5 years, I've been integrating yogic methods and methodologies with counseling and NLP and helping people to make better lifestyle choices, develop better habits, which in turn help them to deal with their stresses and anxiety and all the issues related to them. So that's what I do. I work mostly on exercise, sleep, uh, healthy eating habits, and stress management. That's where I am. Now, let's get into today's topic. I can't wait. I'm very excited. Now, In the last session, we spoke about how to integrate work and family life to create a harmonious life for our own selves. Now, when we talk about, our personal well-being, personal health, and peace and harmony for our own in our own lives, our the overall health and well-being of our family and family members plays a huge role and a huge impact. We cannot do without it. So, and what it includes, it not only includes physical health but also emotional, mental well-being, interpersonal connections, communication, and also the lifestyle choices that we make as a family unit. Now, my first question around lifestyle choices, I'll start with Sylvia. So, if you can tell me, how can we create a healthy home environment which fosters and encourages overall well being, physical activities, and healthy eating habits? And if you also can share, like, what could be some of those activities and how can we make them enjoyable so that, others participate?
Yeah, thank you, Rupsha. And I really love the question. And it's so, so important, especially now being around the festive season. Christmas is around the corner, New Year is around the corner. And I think it's just a very common statement we usually use as normal that it is the season we gotta eat a lot, we not gonna move a lot, and we gonna gain 5 kg or whatever it might be. And it doesn't have to be this way. You can really bring in a lot of playfulness. And I think playfulness and gamifying things is really a key aspect of making it enjoyable as a family together. So, what I mean by that is that, for example, do some beautiful baking, Christmas baking together as a family, either with your spouse or with your kids or everyone all together. Put on some nice Christmas music to also get into the mood. And that baking doesn't have to be unhealthy. There are hundreds and hundreds of even festive recipes out there that you can utilize and still keep it somewhat healthy, nourishing. And the same goes for your Christmas dinner. Like, obviously, it will be bigger portions, you will eat a lot, probably, but it can be healthy. It can be still a conscious preparation. Similarly, when it comes to exercise, make it fun. Do some hiking together as a family and enjoy some time off, because now it's probably the time where all of you can really spend some meaningful time together. And it's a choice whether you sit in front of TV and not talk to anyone and just be, or really make memories that you will all cherish throughout the even coming years, if you like. So, whatever it comes to, remember playfulness and gamifying it, and you can nicely bring in some education and knowledge into the family environment about healthy habits, healthy eating, maintaining good sleep, having great relationships, inviting friends and family members to spend time together and nurture that time together. There is really a lot to it, probably thousands of more ideas. So I will leave some of those for the other panelists. I finish it here, but yeah, I hope you can take some ideas from this. Thank you, Rupsha.
Thanks, Sylvia. Yes, of course. Of course, we can make things fun. And obviously, as we were talking about pre the live session, that, now is the time where everyone is kind of in a lighter mood. So, yes, making things enjoyable and fun. And also, I think what I realized that, actively nurturing those things, making active plans and involving the others and then doing the going with those plans. That was wonderful. Thanks so much, Sylvia. Now, Georgette.
So, just going off of what Sylvia said, first of all, I have antlers. If you can't see it, this is my Christmas spirit right here. I do not
I
mind
love
dressing
them.
up at all.
Sorry, but I love them.
Thank you. I do not mind getting silly. Sylvia was talking about, family activities and nurturing that, all of that. And I've heard people go, but we do all these things, but you still don't feel like you're part of the unit. It's a good feeling. Everybody has good vibes in that moment around this season, but they don't know how to just keep that going, long term, so that when they come back, they're just adding. It almost seems as though many people come together at the end of the year, they catch up with family and friends, and then everybody kind of goes and lives their life. So, talking about the movement, exercise, and the bonding with all that good stuff, and trying to make it fun. Apart from the cooking and doing stuff together, I'm a long distance runner, and I am not one to go on a race on a holiday because I'm the one generally always cooking. So for the first time this year during Thanksgiving, I went for a turkey trot, even though I let watch other people go. And Christmas is coming. There have been so many ugly sweater Christmas things. If you're a runner and you're a running family, that is one way to do it. I promise you, you will hear everything come out of everybody's mouth. But the thing about gamifying it and making it more wholesome is the fact that we have to start learning how to ask each other the right questions. How are you is great, but it's so generic, and it's easy for me to say, oh my gosh, my year has been great, and this, that, and the other, and here's what's going on, whatever complaints you have. But if you just take it a step further and ask people what is new with you, because at the end of the year, it's easy to say, oh yeah, what are you planning for new year? So while we're doing all these activities and spending time and nurturing each other, we have to start learning to ask the right questions, because I know that this time of year can be so personally invasive, especially for the people who do not know how to talk about themselves or don't like talking about themselves much. You can learn how to ask questions where it's not invasive but gives opportunity for your family members to be able to respond without feeling like, oh, you're asking too much or whatever the situation may be. So I found that just asking what's going well with you is one way to do that, because it makes people think. Everybody always is thinking of what went wrong, what is going wrong, because it's, misery loves company. It's easy to pull people in with, guess what my boss did, and guess what auntie so and so did, and the arguments start. I personally, around the Christmas time, not all year long, around the Christmas time, those little petty arguments are hilarious to me because everybody's just trying to be heard. But if you really want to bond, you have to start asking the right questions. What's going well with you? And watch people's light bulbs go off, and they will tell you everything that they possibly can come up with. I think that's a good bonding way, so that when the time comes when something is not going well, they don't feel so guarded or feel like you're invading their privacy. Now, for the food and movement part of things, we're just going to eat more. I don't know what it is about our bodies. Well, I do know it's science. It's cold. We're indoors more. We need more calories to stay warm and keep our bodies functioning. Plus the holiday season, you're just going to get eat more. But here's the trick that I've been doing for a long time is around this time, after a meal, just go for a walk around the block. Just go for a short walk, 10 minutes. Just go for a walk and come back. You'll take the best nap after that big Christmas meal. And just take the kids with it. I love this time of year because there are so many people in strollers and pushing their babies and groups of people doing things. That is how to foster that, because that's one way to just learn to be in people's presence. And I'll pause there for now.
Wow. That was great. That was great. Like open communication and asking the right questions. And you know what I really liked about it, that bringing out, letting people, helping people focus on the positives, the accomplishments, or the good things that has happened. We're right. We're always whining, complaining, and saying, "Oh, focus." Mostly focus on the bad things and what's not happening, but what's the good things happen. That's wonderful. And yes, walking, do whatever, eat as much. I just said the other day, like, I don't know what has happened to my appetite. I'm like constantly eating. I'm like always on the go eating. Anyway, Anderson, now it's your turn.
Rufsha, I love what you were saying there about constantly eating, because maybe if you're constantly eating, you're constantly hungry. Hmm. I don't know, but there is a thought there. But I love those. Everything that y'all have shared is beautiful. From doing activities like exercises and cooking together, Sylvia, I love that baking together, and I'm gonna steal that one from you. And Georgette, I love the being able to ask the right questions, not in a way that comes off as interrogating, but curiosity. So I'm going to piggyback off of your idea, Georgette, because celebrating those wins is so important. And at this time of the year where we just want to rush and go ring in the new year, it's so important for us to reflect on what happened the year before. Now, I know a lot of us, we do that reflection by ourselves, right? I'm hoping that we do that reflection by ourselves. However, how well do we do that reflection with our families? Because that does give them the opportunity to celebrate. I ran actually four races this year, and my family and my friends were there every step along the way. It would be amiss for me to not recognize them and all the support and all the cheering that they gave me to support me to get to the place where I am right now, being able to celebrate the holidays with them. So, yeah, do the reflection with your friends, do the reflection with your family. I think that's one of those ways where we can just build in, because the topic is around long term well being, right? And this is not just like a one and done. We want to get into that continuous pattern of celebrating our wins, showing up, doing the work, but at the end of it, recognizing the progress that we've made. So that's one for me. Number two is just sharing. And I think we've talked a lot about the concept of sharing meals, sharing exercises. One of the things that comes to mind for me is sharing stories. And I remember in our last session, Georgette, you mentioned designate a historian in the family who can be the custodian of all the stories that happen in the family. You know what? Share those stories. Pull up the family album. When we were growing up, we took so many pictures and we had a family album of actually printed out pictures. I don't know if anybody has printed out pictures today, but pull out a family album, share them on your phone, drop them into a Google Drive folder, into a Google Docs, into an Apple folder, and go over the pictures or the moments that really made your year as you're reflecting on the things that you were proud of. And last but not the least, we talk about play. So I love this concept of play, gamification, making it fun, not just the physical part. You can have board games if you're that kind of a family, card games if you're that kind of a family. Heck, you could do fun scavenger hunts around the house if you're that kind of a family. Who's got what in their presents, right? There's so many things that we could do to foster that sense of community that doesn't alienate. Because I know when we talk about the holidays, especially when we were talking about in the pre-session, there are different people who've traveled in different parts of the world. Sylvia, you're out there in Dubai. It's very multicultural. Ruksha, you're out there in India. It's very multicultural. And you've adopted different cultures or you adopted different religions. So it's really important to show that respect for other cultures and other religions. And all of these tips and tricks and techniques that we're talking about, they cut right through culture. They cut right through religion. So I love that question, Ruksha, and I'm sure we can go on it all day long, but I'm going to pause there and hand it back to you because I'd love to hear what you're doing to foster a sense of family in India. Over to you, Ruksha.
Thank you. That was wonderful. There was so much into it, really. I really liked it where you said, yes, all these tips and tricks, strategies, all cut through all cultures and religion and everything. It's for everyone, right? Wellness for all. Yeah. So it was lovely. Yeah. Whatever you said in India, see, we are big into festivals and families and doing things, at least weddings and birthdays and anniversaries and festivals. And in my city, as I was telling you, Calcutta, Christmas had been a huge part. And we also celebrate a lot of other festivals. But as we are talking about Christmas, so there are 100-year-olds Parsi bakery where people line up to buy that Christmas cake, and it's still going on. And there's streets which are lit up, families go out for dinners, cook dinners in the house, and then people, from different cities or from abroad, they visit home this time. So there's a lot of catching up with friends and families, lot of old stories, Anderson. Yes, like we've been catching up with friends and families, and we're talking about like like old stories as kids, as grown-ups. It's fun. So yeah, all this going on, and it's and food is very important. As you know, in India and my culture, food is very important. So whatever we do, food has to be there. Yes, a lot of unhealthy eating going on, but that's all right. We try to balance it somehow. So now what my strategy about eating healthy, like as you said, Sylvia, yes, like I love colorful, I love my plate to be colorful. So I this winter time, lot of seasonal veggies, so like lot of colorful veggies, grill them, fruits, lot of colorful fruits, mix nuts and seeds and honey, make it accordingly and eat. You know, it looks colorful, attractive, and it also gives you that whatever you're doing, putting that trash into your body or whatever, at least you're trying to balance it out. So yeah, physical activities as well, as much like gamify it. Yes. So yeah, that's what we are doing right here, right now. So I agree, a lot of time to bond with families, and I hope all of you who are listening here today as audiences, please take notes, because our panelists are just giving wonderful tips and tricks which are like really doable. Please do it now. I will move on to the next segment. From physical health and well being, obviously, when we talk about overall health and well being, emotional and mental health plays a huge part. And when we talk about mental health, emotional well being of family, communication is key. I think communication plays a vital role. Now, my question to Sylvia is, how can we promote and encourage open communication and emotional well being, a space like that within our family, so that it can support each family member's mental health needs? And also, if you can share some ways by which we can encourage respect, understanding, and empathy within the family. All yours.
Beautiful question. Love it, Rupsha. And just to take a note on your rainbow kind of eating habit, that's amazing, because that's really the rule. Eat the rainbow, be it fruits, be it vegetables. And when you do that, you already bring a lot of variety of nutrients to your body. So you will have less cravings to the rubbish stuff, which is yet very tasty. So that's just on the side note. Coming back to the communication, emotional health, understanding each other, I think there are a lot of strategies and approaches that anyone can apply in the family, which may require a little bit of a conscious attention. What I'm referring to is, for example, active listening. It makes the world of difference, because one of the basic human need is we all want to be seen and we all want to be heard. So when someone in the family is sharing with you something, then try not to be on the phone and just scrolling back and forth and then telling the person that I'm listening, I'm just checking something on the phone, I'm super good in multitasking, because that's not how it comes across. Active listening means that you have eye contact, you adjust your body language to the same what you see from the person on the other side. It's called mirroring, which also shows that buying in, paying attention, I'm here with you, I'm listening to you, and gesticulating in a certain way using your face expressions, so that the person can really feel that he or she is being heard and listened to. Let the person finish that thought or sentence and then respond with your point of view. What is also, in my opinion, extremely important, to create a judgmental free environment at home, because that will be the point which will enable and encourage people, be it kids or be it adults, doesn't really matter, but that will create a safe space and a safe environment where they will not be afraid of sharing anything, be it bad or challenging or a failure, which something is to be learned from. So creating that judgmental free environment where we don't criticize each other for anything that is happening around them, but rather supporting, rather showing that supporting behavior and supporting approach that makes a huge difference. And then, of course, the emotional expressions. And I will probably still refer to that a couple of times because it's so important that we just lead by example. Because especially when you talk about kids, although I don't have one, but I did some study there. When you talk about kids, kids will not do what you tell them to do, they will copy you. And the reason for that is because they do not have, especially under the age of 10, they don't have an analytical mind developed yet. So they will not be able to logically analyze and understand what you are telling them, especially when you call them out and you tell what not to do. Even if I tell you now, don't think of a pink elephant. Like, can you just not think of a pink elephant? What do you see in front of your eyes? Like, you cannot help it. You only see the pink elephant, don't you? This is how our brain works. It doesn't understand that little word don't. So remember that when you speak with kids, this is why they need so much of stories and the way how you show them how you behave. This is who they will become, and this is what they will replicate in their life. So leading by example is extremely important. And I will hold my word here and hand it back to you, Rupsha, so that others can also share some thoughts.
Honestly, I could keep listening to each one of you at length, probably for hours. There's so much into it. But yes, I agree. Practice what you preach, right? That's what lead by example. And as you said, that's very true. And wonderful points mentioned, Sylvia. Now, I'll not eat up on your time. Georgette, your turn.
So I was listening to Sylvia and my science brain just like kicked in. And so here's the thing about emotions, right? All of us, or humans in general, all of us have an electrical system around our bodies and we vibrate at different frequencies. So imagine a gathering of people and everybody's vibrating at different frequencies. Some people will mesh with you, others will not. And unfortunately, the average human being is not aware of their vibration. And you have different have you ever been in a room where you're around somebody and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to get away from them? And then you're around the next person and you feel so much at peace, and then your kids just throw everybody off because they're just kids. Like Sylvia said, no analytical brain. So imagine a room full of people and all these personalities, and everybody has their own thing going on. So emotional regulation, starting with the individual, is huge. It is so huge to be able to say, okay, when I'm standing next to this person or this group of people, here's how I feel, And then maybe it's one way to just tune into yourself and not react to everything. Even if it's something that you're not really happy about, there is a different way to be able to respond and not react. Like we were joking about the last time during the session where somebody, what is it about aunts and uncles that trigger you? I don't even understand what it is apart from parents. But somebody says something and you don't like it, and the next thing you do, knowing me, I am not that very quiet, I'm sitting in my corner kind of person. I will say something back. But learning to respond instead of react to something unpleasant is very, very important, because what it does is that it keeps you regulated and de-escalates any kind of thing that is going on. So in a way, you're just learning how to do difficult better, because at some point in your life, this person was special to you. And to think that we've grown up and we have our own ideas about the world and just shun people, that to me seems a lot problematic. So emotional regulation is important. When it concerns kids, my observation has been, because of technology, kids tend to just kind of move away from the adults. Whereas the way we bond and glue as a family is having different ages socialize together and learn to socialize with each other. I don't know I think everybody's talking about, oh, the younger generation is so disrespectful. Every generation has said that about the people behind them. So, but at this point, I think the one insidious thing is technology, especially with the younger generation. And then they get into you. Have you been in a room where now just the adults, maybe 40 and above, are sitting down doing something? All the teenagers are doing something. And the kid, it's like so disjointed the entire time. From especially when you have family gatherings, I'm learning how to include the little ones in the conversation. It doesn't have to be anything adult related or grown up related. It could just be a conversation where the kids have a say, because we also want to foster a voice with our children and allow them to know that this is my family. I can say something without being shut down, without being pushed away, because it's practice for the child and the adults in active listening. It's practice for the child and the adults how to be around different kinds of people. So this is, I see this is as a problem in today's world, where just groups of people just tend to stick together because they have no concept of socializing with anybody outside their age, outside their social ideology, or whatever the situation is. And with technology, even during Christmas time, everybody's still on their phone, everybody's trying to do something. The last time I spent a holiday with a whole bunch of people, everybody took their picture of their food, because some of us like to be on Instagram. We took a picture of our food, and then we put all the phones down. And then the kids who just cannot fathom that they cannot touch their phones, we had to say, what are you looking at? And then if they couldn't tell us, that's when they put it down. But if it was something funny, and if you're like my son, I call him my little human. It's like, you're like my son, he's watching silly ridiculousness. I think I know where that came from. And he'd show it to you. So that's another way to bond over that, seeing that kids are so attached to their phones. In the end, that phone is going to go down, and we're going to keep talking about everything else. So that's another way, is to incorporate. If you ask a teenager, what are you doing on the phone? They're probably going to give you an attitude. And here's what you do as the family's like, if you cannot tell us what you're doing on the phone, you have to put your phone down. Chances are they will. They just will. And even if they don't, you let them go, they'll realize they're missing out on everybody socializing, and there's just this human need to just belong, and they'll turn around and come back to you. So as technology is infiltrating everything, because even the baking, what do? You Google, you go on a website and find a recipe, right? So then you have the phone there and everybody's talking. So it's part of our lives. We just need to integrate it in a way that it becomes the tool that it was meant to be, instead of the interruption that it is. So that's my contribution. Learn to talk to a 2-year-old and a 98-year-old, and have the patience and the presence to be there and go, I don't understand what they're saying, but I'm going to allow them to express themselves, because guess what? Grandpa has stories, believe it or not. Grandma used to wear a short skirt, believe it or not, you know. So those are things that you just kind of have to pull out of people. And I like being around the elderly. I love asking them about what their lives were. And so that's one way for the younger generation to listen and hear and feel and understand the people who are older than them. And it gives the chance for the older people to understand that the world has dramatically changed for the younger people. So you might not understand why they do what they do, but just enjoy loving your grandchild, your niece, your nephew, whatever, and just learn to be patient and be present with people. So I'll end there for now.
Wonderful points, wonderful thought, Georgette. And yes, before I go to Anderson, as Sylvia said, active listening, so important, active part. And as you said, uh, no judgment. And as Georgette said, let them communicate, let them say, communicate with them. Like include everyone in your group, in your unit. Foster that sense of community, right? And if you cannot communicate, then put your phone down. Communicate about, so let's communicate about something else. There's so much to talk about. I agree. Now, Anderson, to you.
I would be kidding to say I have words. I have very few words left because Georgette, you just dropped so many gems right there. However, I had to say this. Wow, that was a lot of gems. Secondly, Sylvia, something that you talked about multitasking, and I caught myself in the middle of this because my good friend Alexandria joined, and I was gonna put it in the chat like, "Hey, Alexandria," and I was like, I know it's the energy of excitement, and I want to acknowledge my friend Will. He's here, and it's just natural to us to want to multitask. So I hear you. I hear both of you actually when you talk about multitasking. And there will be a time for me to go back to the comments maybe and acknowledge Will and acknowledge Alexandria. I hear you. We all guilty of this multitasking stuff. It's so invasive. It's so invasive. But cultivating that presence, being present with people, being there with them to feel their energy is so powerful. I tell people all the time, I say, you could spend 10 hours with a person and you could spend 10 minutes with them and you could leave feeling exact same way. What's the difference? It's the energy that they bring into the experience. And so bring your full energy into the experience. Share it with your families. Don't be there scrolling through the phone while they're talking to you. They're going to feel like you didn't actually show up for the holidays. Be there. Show up and be there. You really did the job to show up. Just be there. The second one was around respect. And I love that thoughts on, because I don't have any kids. So I love the thoughts around having the kids be part of the communication, but have the respectful communication. Like put your phone down respectfully so we can dine together. When I was growing up, we had meals together because food is energy, yes, but food is also love. And being able to share a meal or to cook a meal with another person is just one of the most beautiful expressions of love. So yeah, do share those things. Do share the food and bring your presence, that presence of the now with you when you share those things. The one thing that I would add to this, that what y'all was sharing was just laughter. Because I got my ugly sweater today and I'm laughter and humor, they go such a long way to break the stress, to break tensions, to make people feel joy, happy, calm, whatever. Bring in whatever versions of laughter you've got. Watch a comedy together and sign up for Netflix. I just got Apple TV and my new favorite, Jason Momoa, is on there. So I watch him. He's so funny. I don't know if you've ever watched Jason Momoa. I'm about to go watch Aquaman later on tonight. But he's so funny. He's action, but he's funny. Bring in humor. It doesn't necessarily have to be on the technology, like on, you don't have to be watching a movie because that, sometimes could be alienating because if we're all watching, then we're not talking. So you can bring in again, gamify it, bring in those games, ways that you can have fun, right? It doesn't have to all be stressful. It has to be also fun. I'll leave you with this one last thing. I know I keep saying the one last thing, but it's just been an amazing year doing the Empowered Wellness series and the togetherness, the power of the togetherness. You know, I think the entire year, Georgette and I are probably the only ones who met it. Actually, we are the only ones who met in person. We have been fostering this community with the Empower Wellness series as this our little family over here, but we've been doing it using technology, right? So there are a lot of people who are disconnected right now physically, geographically. They can't travel to go see their families for the holidays. Reach out to them. And if you're one of those people, reach out. Use the tech to connect. And if you're cooking, put that iPad over there and put that recipe and share your food with you if that person is not there in person. Because even though we talk about all the in person things, there are a lot of people who might not have that luxury to travel and go and see that family in person. So I know I said I didn't have a lot to share, but holy moly, like when I started talking, all the thoughts started coming up. Thank you so much, all of you, for these really, really enriching thoughts and really enriching ideas. I've taken I'm taking so many points from everything that you all said, from the multitasking and the being able to show up and bring your full energy with you. So I appreciate you for sharing those gems. I've learned at least a few things today in these sessions. So back to you, Ruksha.
More gems from you. And yes, technology, as you said, being the tech guy, you're always the positive side of technology and how we can use it for people who cannot be physically together or spend time together. This was wonderful, and my mind, my brain is swarming with so many ideas and thoughts. Starting from, there's so many, Sylvia. You brushed up so many memories of those, mirror imaging, and how how you can deepen the bond and connection with others by that imaging. And Georgia, you spoke about response versus reaction. Oh my God, such a wonderful but such an important information and tip it is. And it works, and it's lovely. Yes, this sense of togetherness, bringing through technology or through baking, through games, through board games, whatever works for your family. And from here, what I would like to say, what you understand, different families have different dynamics. So probably, at this point, it's also important to know. So I learned it later in my age, that if we just respect and try to understand that even if we belong from the same family, our perspectives would be different as individuals based on our experiences. If we can respect that, so even if we do not understand each other completely, and which we do not have to, we can learn to agree to disagree, and also communication, like how we communicate, like plan up things, but like, okay, like ask everyone, like communicate the way maybe I communicate with my mother will not work the way I communicate with my father, because they're two different people. So if we can take some time, and at least the people, our close family people, what works with them, what kind of, are they more visual people or they're more uh, like audio visual, what works with them, try that with them, plan things, include them, ask the right questions, yes, again, about everything. What do you want to do, what do you want from me, or how do you want me to behave, act, things like that. Yes, ask the right questions. That's about it. Lovely. There's so much to take from this session. Oh my God, this has been a gem. Now, technology, we cannot do away with technology, and obviously technology, as we say, every family will complain that screen time has taken a lot of away from the family time. And as Sylvia and everyone mentioned, you're talking to someone, people do not actively listen. They're looking at their phones, and that is disrespectful in a way. It doesn't make the other person feel heard and seen or valuable or worthy. Anyway, so my next and the last question for the segment is how to encourage alternate activities to screen time for our own selves and also for our children, for the children of the family, and also for the adults.
Okay, I guess it's my turn. So
Sylvia, it's
yeah,
your
I
turn.
it's good. We know it by now. So I want to share a small story here, and it will come back to the same note I mentioned before, the leading by example. So I ran a workshop in a big corporate organization very recently, and there was a section which was about habits and routines. And one of the participants came up and he was telling me that he has a really hard time to somehow not fall asleep with the mobile in the hands. Like he just keeps scrolling mindlessly before falling asleep and then somehow putting the phone away. How many people are guilty of that? Anyone listening? So, and I told him that this is where you, first of all, there you go. This is where you, first of all, need to find the right motivation. Very, very important to change or to want to change that habit. And there are plenty of strategies that you can use to make this habit change successful, which we were talking about earlier and probably will come back to in a later session again. Nevertheless, a couple of minutes later, he came with another question that was very interesting. And he says he has a son who is 9 years old, if I remember correctly. And he's like, how can we make sure to help these kids understand or take on the right habits and to implement the healthy stuff, and how can we teach them things? And I'm like, leading by example. So I turned the question back to him. Would you like your son to fall asleep with the mobile in the hand and just scroll mindlessly before he's sleeping? He's, of course, no. I'm like, reflect on this after the session, whether it would be maybe your point of motivation. Why change this habit into something else that maybe you would like your son to also get into? Because they will copy you anyway. Even when you think they don't see me now, they don't notice it now, they are way too smart to do that. So again, leading by example and finding ways for activities which will pull the kids out from the technology. Because when they get bored, when they don't get attention, when they are not being seen or heard, then obviously automatically they will grab the phone, they will grab the tablet. And it breaks my heart to see whenever we go out to restaurants, when kids are grumpy, then the first thing parents do nowadays oftentimes is just to give the kid a tablet with some movie on it and keep the little one quiet. And yeah, there is just a limited communication there. So involve them into a board game. You got plenty of ideas today. Involve them into some family activity, into the hiking, into some walking or playing outside, anything, baking. Like, there are so many things. When they are involved, they will not even think about having the mobile, having the tablet in hand, and just mindlessly playing or doing anything. So that's my take on that. Rupsha, back to you and to the others for additional input. Thank you.
Wow, yes. Lead by example. And as you were talking, this a few years back, I saw a meme or something on a post on Facebook, just a picture. So two parts there when a child and a parent sitting, I think, in a bus, sorry, and both of them are looking at phones. A small child, maybe in the picture, 5 year old, and the other picture is like the parent is reading a book and the child is sitting next to the parent reading a book. So it's like, it's what you want to imbibe and what you want to do, exactly like that. Absolutely wonderful thought, Sylvia. Now, Georgette, your turn.
Whew, that's a lovely one, Sylvia, with the habits. And I'm going to take it a step further and do rituals. I know the word rituals, especially from my culture, which is Cameroonian, has a negative connotation. But rituals are really the things that we do out of habit. And then once we impart an intention towards it, it becomes a ritual, right? So many families have traditions that come out of rituals. And so the goal here is to be flexible with your rituals, with your traditions. Just like when kids are little and they want a bedtime story. As a parent, sometimes we're going, oh my gosh, I just want you to go to sleep. I'm going to read a story. But for the little one, that is the peak of their day, is that you're reading them a story. So it's so important. That's why they keep telling you, read another one, because that's where the ritual is. That's where the bonding, the connection is. That's where the comfort, the love is. So create together the rituals and the traditions as a family, not only around Christmas time, but Christmas time is perfect. Create those rituals where if you come to so and so's house, here's how we get in, this is what we do. When you go over here, or when we're together as a group, a big family, here's what we do. Once you have those rituals in place and you pass that down to the younger generation, the older people generally don't care because we have so much respect for them. We're like, they've been through their own rituals, they can chill out, right? But the younger upcoming people who are going to carry the baton for the family have to understand that this is how our family functions. This is what we do. This is why we do what we do. In my culture, in Cameroon, across the from north to south, east to west, there is something that we do when we gather, where the men in the family take a bottle of alcohol, usually whiskey, pour it outside the door, and give thanks to, let's say, the ancestors, and giving them blessings, and to allow that, just a great little thank you for allowing us to be together, your presence is felt type situation. And as a child, when that happened, everything got quiet, because even though there was music in the background, there was an uncle talking somewhere, there was the cola nut sharing. So those things were so expected, and they held so much weight. So once you kind of create those rituals with your own family, whatever they may be, what you're doing is giving reverence to your gathering. It's saying this gathering is very important, so we have to be present. Because after that, guess what? The conversations were just, they just flourished. And even as a kid running around and doing whatever we needed to do, I don't think that we felt like we were separate. I think we were all part of it, because they never really kicked us out. They just dealt with us just running around and doing whatever the situation may be. And in between conversations, having that, come here, sit down, tell me how you did in school, type situation, the whole communication thing comes back into play. So rituals to me are very, very important. And it just gives weight to your gathering. It gives weight, and this is special. This is what our family does. And then there's going to be a time where the kids, now the world has changed. Those rituals have to change. Don't be so rigid. Let's be fluid enough to understand that now you're a grandparent, and the thing that you did 20 years ago does not work for the family anymore. And it's okay to feel sad about that, but understand the younger generation when they're creating those new rituals and those new traditions, and see where they're coming from it. Have the conversations around it. And I know it's hard to tell someone who's stuck in their ways to see things differently, but the younger generation has to have the patience as well to say, I understand you don't get why we're doing what we're doing, but I would love it if you participated in the same place. So have that inviting nature and not an alienating one, because the world today seems to just want to separate us just because we disagree on things, type situation. So rituals give a lot of weight to our gatherings. So that's what I have.
Yeah, that was extremely, extremely powerful, Georgette. And also, as both Sylvia and you said, right, like habits, sharing habits, developing new habits, or as you mentioned, rituals, sharing rituals, and also being flexible in today's world, right? That everything is evolving. So as families also, we need to evolve, and so that we can be inclusive, the younger generation also, and that's how I think that the sense of empathy and respect and understanding each other, people from the other generation, also happens as we try to understand the other generation. I think, then they also, it's the energy, right, Anderson, the energy we exchange. I have to behave the way or do those things if I expect certain things from someone. I think it's a reflection of how we are also in some ways. Anyway, Anderson, to you now.
I was talking there, and I realized that I was on mute. I was agreeing with you 100%. Yeah, no, you're so right on the money. And Georgette, everything that you said there, it's resonating with me 100%. One thing that I'll add, because I know sometimes technology gets a bad name. I'm the IT guy, so I will encourage people to use technology in a responsible way, but I also encourage people to adopt the technology. Now we have so many different generations at work. The older generations might not have any idea what's going on with metaverse or with AI and with any of that stuff. But how do the kids feel that connection with the older if the older people are not showing the interest in what the kids are watching or what they're looking at? So show the interest, because that helps build the connection. And that interest might show up in many different ways. It may show up as in, hey, you know how you're everything in the news right now is about AI? Are you learning AI? Ask some curious questions. What are some of the things that you're doing with AI? Oh, by the way, let's just take a break right now and go have a bite to eat, right? You've shown them the interest, you reel them in. Now they can go along with you for that journey. I think we can all build some digital skills, and maybe after the holidays, we can go back to work and know a thing or two that we can bring to work with us. But I don't think that technology is necessarily the enemy. I think that technology is a connector. I think that if we use it in a respectful way, just like we connect with each other in a respectful way, just like we share and communicate and do all of those things, I think it can serve us really, really well. The one thing that I'm still struggling with when you talk about family getting together and those family activities is setting goals for next year. So one of the places where I struggle with is, well, I have a vision board and I use the vision board to set the goals. And I insist on using a physical vision board because the digital has just never cut it for me. And so, yes, I can do that in person with my family, but for y'all who are remote, I'm going to have to take a picture of it, which requires technology, and share it with you. And Vision Board, by the way, is just an amazing way of setting goals for the year and sharing that goals in a visual manner. So if you're, more of a visual person, it's a wonderful way of setting your goals. And I know one of the goals that you have for next year, Georgette, and I don't want to let the cat too far out of the bag, is to run a January challenge. So hopefully there's a few minutes, maybe Robsha can give you a few minutes to share more about the January challenge, but it's fun, it's exciting. It's probably going to kick those cobwebs out when we come back from the holidays after all that sugar. So I'm going to pause there, hand it back to you, Robsha, take it away. But thank you very much for your energy. You all, it's been an amazing conversation, an amazing year. And I'm looking forward to so much more in 2024 with you. Back to you, Robsha.
Yes, thank you so much. That was wonderful. Technology. Yes, I am all what you said completely. I agree with you that there's so much of technology around us, and if we have to connect with the next generation, we have to be on board. And as I was telling you, right, like I think, like I talk to a lot of my friends who are like, whose kids are almost teens or teenagers, and some of them are very lost. Actually, they don't know how to deal with it. And I'm like, okay, as parents, you need crash courses now, I guess. I don't know how else to put it. Like there are so many courses as parents they need, because their kids are somewhere else and they are like they don't know how to handle. But yes, obviously technology, it's about how you use it. There's good and bad of everything. But if you can use technology as it is, like for entertainment purpose, for educational purpose, for communication, for keeping in touch, then it's amazing. And it's going to be a never ending debate, I guess, whether it's good or whether it's bad. So let's try to bring out the good as much as we can. It was wonderful hearing all of this. Really, as Anderson said, gems, total gems. And please, I hope all of you have taken notes. I'm going to go through this and take down notes by myself, of course. Georgette, please, before we end, about your January challenge.
Okay, I'm excited about it. Woohoo! So, January challenge. Okay, so this is a cleanse, a detox, and there will be activities for all the 4 weeks of January. And the hashtag is Take the Cure Challenge 2024. And I put it as Take the Cure because honestly, the cure starts from inside out. It starts from what we do with ourselves, how we see ourselves, how we talk to ourselves. There's going to be a seminar, there's going to be lots of games, lots of activities and things that could be done in those weeks. So, yes, please join the challenge. I just had the link and then I think it expired. I was going to put it in the chat, but I will put it in the chat anyway. But it's just a way to have community. There is not, you cannot have, you can all there's all the community, you can have all the tribes that you want to have, and this is one way to have that, a wellness tribe, one that manages and prioritizes mind body connection and harmony. So I have it on my previous post, I've posted it anywhere, but the link will be in this chat after we're done. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Georgette. I'm excited. We'll be there. All of you, please be there. It'll be a fun way to connect, build a community. Any ending words, takeaways, any of you, all of you, the mic is yours, the stage of yours. I've enjoyed this session completely. I thank all of you from the bottom of my heart. Have a great year end and a great new year. Now the mic is all yours.
Ladies first.
Okay. So first of all, I'm extremely grateful for all of you. What we have brought to life with the Empowered Wellness series in 2023 is, I think, beyond all our imagination. And here we are at the end of the year. We nailed 10 sessions together, which I'm super proud of. And we know that there is so much more to come next year. So, everybody out there, stay tuned. Connect with us on LinkedIn through our website. You can find all of us easily through these sessions. We are really looking forward to connecting with all of you. We will be sharing similar exciting topics all around health and well-being throughout 2024. For now, I'm wishing you all a beautiful season, a Merry Christmas. Have some wonderful time with your family and loved ones. Cherish every moment. Try to be in the now as much as possible so that you really can absorb all the sense of it. Happy New Year and see you back next year. Thank you, Ruksha.
I don't have anything to add, so Anderson, go ahead.
All right, I'll take it away. Yeah, no, thank you for those words, Sylvia. It's been incredible. This has been such an amazing journey. Connecting with you all, the panelists and the viewers from all over the world. I've heard stories from Calcutta to Dubai, from Little Rock to Boston. I mean, it's just been an incredible experience for me, holding this space, sharing my knowledge, experiences, but also learning from you all. And yes, be that is the holidays right now and we're in this festive spirit, I'm sending you with lots of cheer. Enjoy the holidays. It's there for you. Whatever reactions that you had in the past, you don't have to carry them with you. This is your time. Have lots of fun with it. Merry Christmas to you. Have a lovely new year. And let's come back refreshed to kick off 2024 with a high note, right? So we're going to have some fun sessions. I know we're going to definitely double down on one of the values that we all share together as a group, which is that value of diversity, of equity and inclusion. And I know next month we're planning some fun activities around Black History Month and around Women's History Month as well. So stay tuned. I don't want to let all the fun out of the bag just yet, but it's been wonderful exchanging this energy with you, and I'm looking forward to more in 2024. Back to you, Rupsha. Cheers.
Thanks, Anderson. Thanks, Georgette. Thanks, Sylvia. It was wonderful. Thanks to all our viewers for being here, for keeping us motivated and encouraged. And as Anderson said, January will be back with more exciting topics. So come back. Have the merriest Christmas. May your lives be filled with music, food, fun, frolic, and whatever is your poison. New Year. I'll see all of you back again in January.